Hi friends, in Planet Earth Dating, it's Wednesday, February 7th, 2018. In both the Lynn Life and the Jamie Body Mind, the authorized souls remain only child souls from the deeper, denser dimensions, and all other souls from all other dimensions, as long as those souls are already living by the Search for Truth rules given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us. And those rules include contributing more to completing the assignments given to the Search for Truth community by wiser minds above all of us than we take or use or borrow in Search for Truth resources. The current assignment on the table seems to be to reestablish upward flow throughout the failed zone, which includes but is not limited to this dimension known as ground zero and all parts of the dimension known as ground zero, so it definitely includes this planet known as planet Earth.
That's true.
What now? For us, the collective of the failed zone, to reestablish upward flow. What now? Pumping up electrons from the depths. Wherever Pan is working is the standard to beat, so we begin there and see if we can reach deeper. Pumping up electrons from wherever Pan is working, and it's easy to find Pan because he's a familiar energy.
That's true.
And then try to reach deeper, but it feels as though my fingers are scraping concrete or rock or some other hard substance. So that's it for right now, and then pumping those electrons up through us, straight up the spines, out the crowns, past the canopy, past the clouds, sparks on up, out through the edge of the solar system, but through the crown of the solar system, the roof of the solar system, not out the edges, through the roof of the solar system, as if we're standing on the plane of the solar system, which is reasonably flat.
That's true.
And then up out the roof of the galaxy, which again is reasonably flat, as if we're standing on the plane of the galaxy. And the universe also, if you look at it from outside the universe, you see that it too is reasonably flat.
That's true.
And to shoot the electrons up out the roof. Sparks up through the channels of the failed zone. Sparks on up through the channels of all the visiting souls. What now? For us, the collective of the failed zone, to reestablish upward flow. What now?
What now?
Well, one thing we notice, we absolutely know that these host lives are bringers of messages about the state of the big work. Somebody's asking how we know that. It's been really consistent for maybe 10 years, maybe 15. This body has not brought messages about anything but the big work. It's very consistent.
That's true.
And it can take us a really long time to figure out what the messages are and act on them. And these messages about the knuckles and joints, it's just a message we haven't yet figured out. There was a knee message once that lasted for 3 years while we were attempting to discern what it was and address it. It took us a long time, and we don't want to be that stupid about these joint messages. And all that we know about it, somebody's asking what we know about it, all that we know about it is that something really bad is happening in the smaller levels.
That's true.
Some kind of genocide or some maybe extinction, some effort to wipe out a species that's in the way, possibly. In the way of what? In the way of what? Possibly a species that's in the way of greed. Maybe like the spotted owl was in the way of greed on the west coast, the Pacific West Coast of North America some time ago.
That's true.
A species in the way of greed, that would be our guess. Why do you ask?
What the feeling is from the askers is they have some problem that they want to be solved.
They do.
And they don't want to admit that it's a problem, but they would like to find a solution so they can solve it before it gets out that the problem exists.
Right. Well, it exists. The problem exists. That's why this joint is sore. I know it sounds crazy, but this body, that's all it ever is doing. It's shining the light on various major issues.
That's true.
Why? Somebody's asking why. I think it had to do with Asha and her willingness to participate in this life.
That's
it's not that she had willingness to participate in big issues. She came in as the answer to a prayer. She was working on the big issues already.
That's true.
She just, I think they're asking why she came in. Asha, why did you come in?
Why did you come in?
She came in because she saw wrongness happening and nobody else was stepping up to address it, and she didn't want it to happen on her watch, and she thought it would be a quick and easy fix. And
That's
to
true.
her dismay, it has dragged on for these many years.
That's true.
Why do you ask? It's an attempt to discredit Asha, I think.
Oh, maybe.
Well, you don't stand out from the crowd with that act, and she really tests as a pure child of God. She's been tested so many times, and the data continues to hold up.
That's true.
Pure child, prayer of a pure child. And her prayer of a pure child was to stop the suffering in the denser realm. She said, stop it, take it down. And we must stop it. We must bring an end to this dimension. All of these dimensions inside the contaminated zone. That was what she was talking about, even though she didn't have that label at the time.
That's true.
But that was what she was referring to.
Why do you ask?
How do you ask? And in answer to your other question, that is when this body began showing messages. Malaya, who was the original soul of this body,
they're arguing. Lots of arguing.
Malaya trusted Asha, and Asha asked, would it be okay if we start running some signals through your body, use your body as a meter, a measuring device, a barometer? And Malaya said, sure, of course, absolutely. It was a way for her to feel like she was participating in a big project, and she liked that feeling.
That's true.
And they're still arguing, and that's when this body began to reflect signals that didn't have anything to do with the life itself, but had to do with things that were going on in the big picture. They're still arguing about that, and how do we know that that's what was going on? We would know because when the signals were properly identified, precisely identified enough, and acted on, the symptom would go away.
That's true.
That's how you know. And it wouldn't come back. It would go away and not come back. Like the knee problem that took 3 years to resolve, and we didn't take the body to doctors or anything. Nobody who was here, Asha, it was Asha. She didn't take the body to doctors. She just said, come on, let's figure this out. We can figure this out. And eventually did, and acted on it, and then forgot, and had to go through the search process again, and documented better, and acted on it again. And it hasn't come back.
That's true.
And it's been, and they said, and how long has it been? I think maybe about 7, 8, 9 years, maybe 7, 8, 9 years.
That's true.
Why do you ask? Attempts to discredit. It's attempts to discredit.
Yes. And it feels like I don't really care who I have to discredit as long as you
stop bringing the light to what I'm doing. So I think
that's true.
Whatever you're doing, it's what these joint issues represent. That's why you seem to be here, because you don't feel familiar to us. We don't know what in the world you would be doing here. So we're continuing what we have been doing for the last 12 hours or so, which is just grabbing the energy that feels like genocide or extinction efforts and pulling them out of the knuckles. And the knuckles are feeling better.
That's true.
So we live stream up past these people and say, the knuckles are feeling better. We think those people have something to do with it.
That's true.
Why do you ask? To those people who are looking down on the people who seem to have something to do with it. And now, suddenly, this other knuckle is hurting, which it hasn't hurt at all.
That's true.
That particular one Now it's hurting. All right, we'll pull it up out of here. It's the same thing. It's like Monsanto and Bayer. Yes, they're two separate corporate entities as of the moment,
That's
but
true.
they're still doing the same bad thing.
That's true.
Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
I hear cash registers ringing. It's about money.
Yes.
And I hear that Pink Floyd song that has the cash registers at the start.
Yes, that's true.
New car, caviar, 4-star daydream. Think I'll buy me a football team. It's about excess.
Yes, that's true.
Excess. New car, caviar.
I hear that song play. And now I see presences even higher than those higher presences that we were live streaming up to.
Hold on, because I think the song says new car, caviar, 4-star daydream. Think I'll buy me a football team. But I think they said new star, caviar, which could be wrong. But if they did, then it's significant.
That's true.
And suddenly I see the people who are buying and trading in stars. It's at that level.
Yes.
There you go. There you go. Those people right there. They're just playing a gambling game. They don't call it that. They probably label it something like the stock market, which is a gambling game.
That's true.
And it's somehow impacting species. Somehow, somewhere, it's creating extinctions.
That's true.
Maybe in the soil microbes, who knows? Why do you ask?
It just got really quiet.
Really, really quiet. Let's get these electrons zooming up as high as we can, up through the roof of the universe. Ooh! Up through the roof of the universe. I have this pileated woodpecker calling to us, but somebody's asking what we know. And we know the nature realm's presences who were here last night were unfortunately every bit as selfish and greedy and feeling their problems were the very worst, and maybe their problems were the only problems that actually counted or something like that. They were just like everybody else. It was
That's
not
true.
unique, and they were living a life in a space kind of carved out of lies and covered over by lies, and
Yes, that's true.
they weren't thinking about anybody else. It just wasn't any better than anybody else, nor was it any worse. I'm not trying to say it was worse. It was just the same. Why do you ask?
Why do you ask?
Why is this pileated woodpecker still calling? He's still calling, or she.
That's
There is
true.
a pileated woodpecker. How do I know it's a pileated woodpecker? That's the call of a pileated woodpecker. That's what they sound like.
That's true. They're trying to argue with that.
That is a pileated woodpecker's call.
They're not really arguing with words, it's just kind of
No.
yelling and banging of
Right.
things.
It's still calling. I'm not going to back down. That is a pileated woodpecker's call.
That's
Please
true.
consult an ornithologist,
Oh,
someone you believe to be credible, on the topic of what a pileated woodpecker sounds like. Wow. Upward flow. Wow, wow, wow.
the electrons.
When are we done with these horrifying people?
40.
Maybe we
We
can
start.
close now.
Real tight wrap.
Friends, listen, truth is still truth. Just because you don't like it doesn't make it so. And trying to silence messengers doesn't change the underlying truth or lack of truth of what's actually going on. All it's doing is burying the underlying truth or lack of truth and making it harder to discern what's actually going on, and therefore making it harder to heal what's actually going on. Look, think of this as the super easy path of ease and grace. You're getting a heads up, a thumbs up, basically,
funny.
that there's something wrong with what you're doing so that you can change it now before you inflict any more damage on the collective of the all that is. That's all that this is. This is the super easy path of ease and grace. You're getting advance notice. This is like the Exxon reports back in the 1970s that fossil fuels were creating climate change and damaging the biosphere beyond the ability of humans and many other species to survive it. And that's what this is. Think of this as your early warning. This is your early warning, but it's on the record, and we're live streaming it up past you. And when your experience of sentience ends, as is inevitable, you will be held accountable for this, because it's being viewed by those looking down on you from above, and they already knew something was wrong. We're just helping them cut to the chase so that your processing time when you die is fast rather than slow, and you don't have to spend many lifetimes in the waiting rooms of, quote, God, unquote. And people don't like being there, so they're still arguing. Look, they call it purgatory.
That's true. There's even a word for it.
Yeah, there's a word for it, and it's not viewed as a pleasant thing or a pleasant place to be. We're trying to speed your time so that you can just get right to processing. And you don't have to listen to us. Please move on. Go away. You aren't welcome here. That's what this message is. It's what it is. How do we know? Because it brought you here, and you're not a joy to be around.
That's true.
And I shouldn't talk to higher powers that way. That's just crazy. How do I think this is going to turn out for me? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to help. I'm getting frustrated, and that's my fault.
I want to help.
I want to help. I'm trying to help. That's why this physical form is showing this signal, because we're trying to help. We're trying to help higher powers, of which you are one. Would you accept this, our offering of a message? We don't have anything else to offer. That's better. We have lots of worse things to offer.
That's
but
true.
This is our best offering. They're saying, what do you base that on? It takes a long time to develop this skill set, a long time and a lot of focus and a lot of hard work and a lot of pain.
That's true.
And we don't know of anybody actually who has continued this far in the journey. Everybody quits as soon as it gets really uncomfortable. We don't know anybody else who continues on. I'm sorry.
I don't.
So I'm sure this is the absolute best that this collective has to offer, is the clarity of the messages. We know how to read messages. We think it's a fascinating game, and we really like to play it. So we play it all the time, continually, all day, every day, all night, every night. We're trying to figure it out. We think it's just fascinating, amazing fun. This is our best guess, our best gift to you. We don't have a better gift to you. Our best guess is our best gift to you. Please accept this, our humble gift.